Hi, I'm Andrew Smith, Associate Director of Virginia Farm Bureau's Governmental Relations Department.
And I'm Stephanie Talon, Assistant Director for Farm Bureau Government Relations.
Stephanie, we are officially in the special session, the first special session of 2021. The session made that transition. I think you mentioned a little bit last week, and bills that were still alive in the different houses or chambers were advanced to the special session at the end of last week and earlier this week by the prospective chambers. And so that's what we have in committees now and being acted on by the legislators. So it took a little while for that to happen and some quick action, but that's where we are. But one thing I wanted to talk about today was you mentioned several of our critical issue budget issues last week, and I know some things have happened on those or some updates need to be made. Could you tell us about those?
Sure. Thanks, Andrew. One of the big items to deal with during a special session is, of course, the budget. And the House and Senate both released their versions recently. We got to take a look and see what some of their priorities are from a financial standpoint. And of course, they look different. And that's the point we're at now, where the House and Senate have to hammer out those differences between their budgets. But to give you a bit of an update on those priorities we talked about last week, the first, of course, being cost share funding for the ag program funding for the Ag BMP cost share fund and technical assistance. The House did include an additional $30 million in their budget, which would bring the total funding for the program up to $65 million from the governor's introduced budget. But the Senate did not include any additional funds. So again, that'll be a big difference to hammer out moving forward. We've talked about the bill to introduce and create the Dairy Margin Coverage Premium Assistance Program for our dairy producers to reimburse them for premium payments into the Dairy Margin Coverage Program at the federal level. And we're fortunate the House to include $1 million for that in their budget, but no funding again in the Senate, so that will have to be worked out as well. Another item, another area that we mentioned last week was funding for Virginia Cooperative Extension, and that's been a priority for Farm Bureau over the years. The House included $600,000 to address 4 key areas of needs: internet connectivity at the AREX and county extension offices, equipment at AREX, and new agents in Virginia, as well as bringing up the current agent salary to keep it competitive with private industry. They also included $1.55 million for IT upgrades and $4.45 million for equipment at AREX. The Senate was a little bit different. They included $1.6 million to address those 4 areas of need that we already mentioned, including the internet, the equipment at AREX, and the new agents and the salaries. So again, we'll have to see how those differences play out as we move forward, but we'll continue to support those priority items. Those are just a few of the budget items that Farm Bureau supports and is closely watching and advocating for. So we'll have an update for our members coming out, an email later today that lists all of those budget items. That's just a snapshot here today. And one thing I also wanted to mention, these budget items are critical issues that we talk about. That's the result of a long policy development process that Farm Bureau has. And as we look forward to the next set of critical issues already coming up for next session and this upcoming year, we look at the very first part of our policy development process. And that's, of course, our PD meetings or policy development meetings that start at the county local level. And that's a little bit different this year, of course, because of COVID. So, Andrew, what are you hearing about those meetings?
Yeah, right, you are, Stephanie. And I always thought one of the more fun, at least for me, parts of the policy development process, because we would normally get out there and talking to the members, and we have the meetings regionally or by county where they're basically, throwing their ideas, expressing their concerns or problems, and something that they think needs to change, whether it's state or federal or local. And, of course, they get sorted out at what level. And so it's the very beginning where people don't have to have formal language or a policy, but just tell us what you think. And then we compile it and send it out, and other counties see what other counties are thinking. And from what I'm hearing from our field staff, you're right, it is looking different. Some are working with their counties in their region, sending out surveys, having them submit them electronically. Some of them are holding virtual sessions with their counties. So it really is different, basically trying to make it fit the needs or the abilities of the region of the state. Certainly we've got different broadband or internet capabilities in different states. Some have more challenges than others. But we all want the input from each of the counties if they want to express concerns or have that process start. It's kind of taking a temperature and seeing where things are. And, it really starts while we're in session. And, so we're working on the policy passed last year, and we're continuously working on that process. So I really encourage any members that are listening to reach out to their fieldman or their county office and say, hey, I want to be a part of the policy development, whatever form it is this year, and encourage them as things get normal to come to those meetings, because they're a really good way to learn what their fellow members and fellow counties are thinking and see what issues, if the same, that they're facing in their own area.
Absolutely. I always say that the real strength of our organization is that it is a true grassroots organization, and all of the items that we advocate for and against are started right there by our producer members at the county level. So I'm with you. This is always a fun meeting, and it's kind of disappointing that we might not get to be as actively involved going to the localities as we are in the past, but hopefully we'll still stay in close contact with all of our members via WebEx or Zoom or email. And I would definitely encourage, like you said, members to reach out to field service directors and participate in the process, or reach out to us, GR staff, if we can be of any assistance with background on issues or crafting any resolutions. That's what we're here for.
And Stephanie, I just want to say, you say that's the start, and there are many parts of the process that if you miss one part of the process, there's still other opportunities to speak up and make a difference in the process. So just because you missed the policy development, there still could be a county level or other. There certainly we have our resolutions meeting and then convention. So it's not just the only opportunity. So, but we hope they take advantage of this very important one that's upon us now.
And one silver lining about having some of these meetings hosted virtually is that you can still get there even in a snowstorm. Andrew, I think you got some snow already this weekend.
We did. I woke up to about 3 to 4 inches of snow. Very beautiful, but, always can cause complications. I'm very fortunate that the roads got cleared before noon. But it's pretty out there, but tell everybody to be careful.
That's right. We've got an ice storm heading into Richmond, so everyone be safe out there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.